If you get Social Security retirement, survivor, or disability benefits, or know someone who does, listen close. A specific letter has started showing up in mailboxes across the country, and you need to know what it means. The envelope looks ordinary. White paper. Social Security Administration printed in the upper left corner. Inside, 2 pages saying you were overpaid. Sometimes a few $100s. Sometimes several thousand. On the second page, one sentence stops people cold. The agency may withhold up to 50% of your check, up to half of the money you live on. Gone each month, until the agency has recovered the full claimed amount. If you've ever wondered how that can possibly be legal, especially when the mistake was not yours, you are not alone. The rules are genuinely confusing, and most people get one specific part wrong. Today, we walk through how it works, what your rights actually are, and the one form most people miss. That form is real. It is free. It has no filing deadline, and it can forgive the entire debt outright. It works only if you meet a 2-part test, which we walk through line by line in a few minutes. But before we name the form, you need to know what comes first. The order matters more than people realize. Quick context. This video is for anyone in the United States receiving Social Security retirement, survivor, or disability benefits, and anyone helping a parent or spouse who does receive one of those benefits. The goal is simple: help you understand a process that is genuinely confusing from the outside looking in, so that if a letter ever arrives, you know what each option does and in what order to use each one. Everything we share comes from publicly available official information, and we name each source as we go. The Social Security Administration's own rules and forms, the agency's Inspector General reports, the April 2025 policy, notice the agency itself published, and reporting from AARP, KFF Health News, and CNBC. This is educational content only, not personalized financial or legal advice. Nothing here is a promise that any specific waiver or specific outcome will apply to your own case. Every situation is different. Before any major decision, talk to a licensed professional who knows yours. Here is how this lays out. 7 things to know, in the order they will matter on the day it counts. A note before we begin. The reason most people freeze when one of these letters arrives is not that they did anything wrong. It is that the notice was written by lawyers, and the rules behind it sit across multiple sections of the Social Security Act and dozens of internal agency forms most people never see. The agency's own Inspector General said as much in writing. In an August 2024 audit report, the rules around Social Security change. And they have changed 3 times in the last 18 months. The agency does not call you to tell you. Subscribe and turn on the bell so you do not miss the next one. Quick question. Have you, or anyone in your family, ever received a letter saying you owed money back? Tell us in the comments what the situation was. No account numbers. Just the basics. We learn from each other. We start with the letter itself, because everything else in this video depends on reading it correctly. A Social Security overpayment notice runs 2 pages, sometimes 3. Most of it is boilerplate text. 4 specific things on it actually matter, and the first sits on the very top of page 1 in plain sight. First, the date in the upper right corner. That is not the day you open the envelope. That is day 1. Pause this and write that one fact down. Every deadline in this video is counted from that date forward. Second, the amount. It will be near the top of the body, often in one sentence. Circle the number you see. Third, the reason. 1 or 2 sentences explaining why the agency believes you were overpaid in the first place. Whatever it says, that is the agency's official position. And that is what you respond to in writing later. Fourth, the appeals and waiver instructions at the bottom. Most people skip that section. Do not skip it. That paragraph names the 3 forms we walk through one by one across the rest of this video tonight. That is the notice. date, amount, reason, instructions. 4 things. Nothing more. Nothing less. Nothing hidden. If a letter showed up tomorrow, would you know what to do in the next 30 days? Most people would not. Next, we cover the appeal form. The request for reconsideration. Form SSA 561 is its name. According to the Social Security Administration's own rules, you have 60 days from the notice date to file. After 60, you can still file. But you must show good cause for the delay, or the agency may decline it. Reconsideration does one specific job, and it is the most misunderstood part of the whole overpayment process. It challenges whether the overpayment actually happened, or whether the amount the agency is claiming is right. If they say $8,400 and you believe the real number is $2,000, this is your form. It is not the form to ask for forgiveness of a debt you accept. That is a different form. Coming next. If you file within 30 days, the agency must stop collecting while they review the appeal you submitted. Now, the phrase that decides almost every overpayment case in the country, not at fault. 3 plain words. Inside the agency's legal framework. Those 3 words mean something very specific and very narrow indeed. Under the agency's published rules, you are considered not at fault if the overpayment happened without any action or omission on your part during the period in which it actually occurred on the agency's record. The agency must consider your age, education, ability to understand the rules, and any limitation you have. That requirement is in writing. In the official guidance the agency gives to its own claims processors, things that count as fault. Failing to report a change you knew you had to report on time to the agency, accepting payments you knew, or should have known, were larger than what you were entitled to receive, things that do not count as fault. A calculation the agency itself made wrong on their own end of the process. A piece of information they had on file but did not act on. A rule change they did not notify you about. If you spent the money in good faith, that supports not at fault. If the agency's processing caused it, stronger. Hold on to that phrase. It will matter again in a minute. And here is the step most people miss completely. One decision. Inside the first 30 days. That legally pauses everything. The comments keep asking about it. According to the Social Security Administration's own published guidance, if you file either the appeal, Form SSA 561, or the waiver, Form SSA 632, within 30 days of the notice date, the agency is legally required to stop all collection efforts on the debt until they have decided your case. They cannot withhold from your check. They cannot send the debt to the Treasury Department. Nothing moves. That is the rule. 30 days. Either form, collection stops cold until a final decision is reached on it. After 30 days, you can still file. But the agency may already have started withholding from your checks. Pause this and write it down. Form SSA 561 is the appeal. Form SSA 632 is the waiver. Either form, filed inside 30 days, stops collection until the decision arrives. That is the protective rule. Picture this scenario. The retiree in our example, an illustrative composite. Not any single real person. A retired warehouse supervisor in central Pennsylvania. Widower, lives on about $1,840 a month from Social Security retirement benefits. Opens the mailbox on a Tuesday afternoon. Finds a 2-page letter saying he was overpaid $8,400 across 3 full years. Because his original benefit had been computed with the wrong base figure in the agency's own internal system. It says withholding starts in 90 days, unless he files something to stop it before that point arrives. He does not call anyone for 2 weeks because he is afraid of what he might find out on the phone with them. On day 15, his neighbor, who once worked in human resources, sees the letter on his kitchen table. She says one sentence. File the waiver inside the 30-day window. Just file it. So he sits down and does He fills out Form SSA 632, explains he had no way of knowing the original computation was wrong, and attaches a statement of his monthly expenses showing he has nothing left at the end of each month. 6 months later, the entire debt is forgiven. The case is closed. One illustrative example, not a guarantee. The next item is what the agency's own Inspector General has put on the public record. In plain writing, the Social Security Administration's own Office of the Inspector General, the internal watchdog that audits the agency from the inside year after year, has published the following in plain language for the public. From fiscal year 2015 through fiscal year 2022, an 8-year stretch on the books, the agency made nearly $72 billion in improper payments. The majority of them overpayments. As of fiscal year 2023, $23 billion of those overpayments remain uncollected. Those numbers come from the Inspector General's August 2024 report on improper payments. For retirement and disability benefits, separate audits document the agency's own systems, miscomputing amounts when birth dates are wrong, when marital status changes are missed, when earnings records are not updated. Why does this matter to you? Sitting at the kitchen table with a letter in your hand right now, this minute. Because when you write your waiver request, you do not have to prove the agency made the error. They did. You only have to say honestly, I had no way to know the amount was wrong. I spent the money in good faith. Quick check-in. Do you read official mail the day it arrives? Or do you set it aside for later in the week? Be honest with yourself. The 30-day clock starts on the date on the envelope, not the day you open it. Now, the fallback option, sometimes a waiver is denied. Sometimes you accept that you owe the money back, but you cannot live on half of your monthly check. And you need a real number you can actually afford. There is a third form for exactly that situation. Form SSA 634, Change in Recovery Rate. This form lets you propose a smaller monthly recovery amount that fits inside your real, documented budget. You list your income. You list your monthly costs, rent, utilities, food, medication, transportation costs. Then you propose a number you can live with each month without going short on the essentials of daily life. The agency has, on record in their own staff guidance, agreed to repayment plans as low as $10 a month. Without this form, the default is up to 50% of your check. With it, the number is what you document. So we now have 3 forms doing 3 different jobs across the overpayment process from start to finish. Form SSA 561 is Reconsideration. Form SSA 634 is the lower rate request. And one more. The biggest of the 3. The one the comment section keeps asking about. The one almost no one names by number. Form SSA 632. 2 pages of questions. 1 page of financial information. The request for waiver. What it does? It asks the agency to forgive the entire overpayment. Not reduce it. Not stretch it. Forgive it. If approved, you owe nothing further. The debt is closed permanently and removed from your account on the books. To approve a waiver, the agency's own published rules require both halves of a 2-part legal test to be met. Pause this video and write the test down right now. Word for word. Exactly as the agency itself states it. Number 1. The overpayment was not your fault. Applying the standard we walked through a few minutes ago. Number 2. Paying it back would cause financial hardship, or it would be against equity and good conscience. Those phrases come directly from the official Social Security publication on overpayments and how they work. Both halves must be true at the same time. Not one or the other. Both halves together. That is the full test. And here is the part almost nobody knows. The waiver, unlike the appeal, has no filing deadline attached to it. The official publication on overpayments states, in writing, There is no time limit for filing the waiver. What goes into a strong waiver letter? A plain explanation of why you had no way to know the payment was wrong, supported by the agency's own documented history of these exact errors that we covered just a minute ago. A statement of monthly income and expenses showing recovery would leave you short on food, housing, or medication, and documentation supporting each line. Copies of bills. Bank statements showing the month-end balance numbers. You can file it with reconsideration on the same day. You can file it instead. You can file it years later. The form is free. Available through your online Social Security account on the official Social Security website. That is the form most people do not know exists. That is the answer to the question the comments keep asking. So, the 7 things, in plain descending order. The way they should sit in your head 2 weeks from today. Number 7. Read the notice carefully. Date. Amount. Reason. Instructions. 4 things on the page. Number 6. The 30-day window pauses collection if you file either the appeal or the waiver inside it. Number 5. Form SSA 561 is the appeal for when you think the amount the agency claims is wrong. Number 4. Form SSA 634 lowers the monthly recovery rate when you owe, but cannot afford it. Number 3. Form SSA 632 is the waiver. The test is not your fault plus hardship or unfairness. Number 2. Not at fault is defined in writing by the agency, and your circumstances are weighed in the decision. Number 1. The Inspector General has the agency's error history on the public record, and you can lean on it. 3 things to do tonight. Before you close your laptop or set down your phone for the evening at home. 1. Log into your online Social Security account on the official Social Security website and check that the address on file is current. So any future notice goes to the right mailbox the first time it is mailed. 2. Bookmark the page on the official Social Security website that lists Form SSA 561, Form SSA 632, and Form SSA 634. So you know where to download all 3 if needed. 3. If a notice has already arrived, do not wait. Talk to a licensed elder law attorney, a legal aid clinic in your county, or a benefits counselor. Any one of them can file the right form inside the 30-day window. Which of these 3 forms did you already know existed before today? Comment 1. 2. Or 3 below. If you know someone receiving Social Security benefits, a parent, an in-law, a neighbor who lives alone, text them this video tonight. 3 minutes of reading about which form does which job before a letter arrives can be the difference between losing half a monthly check and owing nothing at all when the dust settles. The next video, we are working on walks line by line through what an actual overpayment notice looks like. The 4 things that matter on the page, and the 2 that do not, with the exact wording you will see. Subscribe so you see it the day it goes up, not 3 weeks later when a neighbor mentions it to you. And if you only remember one thing from today, remember this one and tell your family about it tonight. The 30-day window starts on the date on the envelope, and the form that erases the debt is 632